Tell me, Sesshomaru, have you someone to protect?
When it comes to character development in Inuyasha, easily the one who grows the most throughout the entire series is Sesshomaru, and someone recently messaged me asking me about my thoughts on the people who influenced this change, and I thought it could be a fun topic for this video, so today I'm going to be talking about the ones who loved Sesshomaru. In particular, we are going to discuss the impact of Rin, Sara Asuno, and Kagura. If you enjoy these kind of videos, remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this, and possibly even consider checking out my Patreon if you'd like to support me a little bit extra. Now, before getting into this video, I just wanted to discuss the reason I was actually reached out to in the first place, and apparently people in the community have a tendency to flame people for acknowledging or disregarding the impact of different people in Sesshomaru's lives, most likely because it contradicts their ships. But here's the thing for this video, and for my channel in general, I don't care what your ships are, I don't care about ships in general, or fanfiction in general. I'm going to be talking about what actually happens in the story, which I know is revolutionary, but just thought I should make that clear. I think when people think about Sesshomaru's growth as a character, it's often the case that we see Rin being the only catalyst mentioned. Some people give Kagura a place as well, and a smaller group takes Sara Asuno into account. There's often this image of the door to Sesshomaru's heart being kind of bursted open, when it's really more akin to it being pried open. In our first experience with Sesshomaru, he was cold, he hated humans, resented his brother, and just all around thought that he was above everyone else. Way later in the series, his mother asked him if the Tensega's power had him thinking that he was a god, but honestly, I'd probably argue that there's no point in the story which shows him to be more full of himself or thinking that he's above others than his first interactions. He has this kind of belief that the only being stronger than himself was his father, and he's been dead for 200 years, which kinda makes him hot shit. Despite that, he is humbled a few times back to back. First, his father chose to give him the Tenseiga while his brother got the Tessaiga. Then Inuyasha actually gets the sword that he wanted and removes his arm with it. And he continues to kind of get beaten down by Inuyasha until eventually Inuyasha lands a wind scar on Sesshomaru and he is whisked away by the Tenseiga on death's door. Now having been saved from the weapon that he wanted by the weapon he resented, this moment is probably one of the single most important moments in the franchise as far as his character goes. And that's because this is one of the moments where he is most humbled. This whole time he's been looking down on humans and half-demons, but Inuyasha keeps laying him out, despite Sesshomaru being leagues above him in terms of general power. So maybe, just maybe, he isn't as perfect or above others as he thought. And it's in this moment of self-reflection and reevaluation of his views that a young human girl begins to regularly visit him while he is healing. This girl named Rin brings him food, water, and tries to cheer him up despite making very little progress at first. However, one day she shows up covered in injuries, and he finally acknowledges her in some way, at least asking what happened, even if he is too proud to confirm that he has an actual interest. Now keep in mind that this is a man who just a season prior literally used his brother's dead mom as bait. To say that even in this short time he isn't growing significantly is ridiculous. Be it from Rin's incessant attempts to try and help him, or just from himself being humbled time and time again in battle, he's beginning to open up here. Of course, he and Rin would go their separate ways pretty quickly once he is healed. However, before he actually sets out, he follows the smell of blood to find that she's been killed by wolves. Tenseiga pulses and he uses it to revive her. Now, the Tenseiga and the Tessaiga each have their own semi-sentience. They pulse, protect, and even communicate with their wielder, and oftentimes this occurs when they have an opportunity for growth. Here, it's unclear if Sesshomaru would have acted without Tenseiga's intervening, however it's likely that the sword latched onto the sliver of compassion that Sesshomaru showed Rin, and that's why it communicates for him to revive her. This is important for a few reasons. Prior to this, Tenseiga was worth very little to Sesshomaru. However, within a short time span, he had both been saved by it and gained the ability to quite literally control life and death, a semblance of the godlike status that he held himself in, while also giving some value to the gift that his father left him. Furthermore, it connects this moment of empowerment with Rin and the kindness that she showed him. From here, Rin joins his party and we see a shift. While Sesshomaru still might not be accepting the value of humanity, He's at the very least warming up to Rin specifically, and is appreciative of her kindness. Here, Rin will effectively take up the role of one of Sesshomaru's vassals, similar to Jaqen. We later see in the episode Forever with Lord Sesshomaru that she asks Jaqen what role she will have in Sesshomaru's empire, kind of implying that she sees herself as someone who wants to be able to help him reach his goals under his sovereignty. Now, that's not how things shake out in the long run, obviously, but let's be real, it's probably best that this is the perspective everyone has, at least while she's still, you know, an 8-year-old girl. As one of his vassals, there exists a type of pseudo-contract between her and Sesshomaru that she will offer him support, kind of in the same way Jaqen does, and he will offer her protection. And yes, Sesshomaru will fuck with Jaqen all the time, but in the event that Jaqen was ever in real danger, he would show up instantly to help him, and in the same way he acts as Rin's protector. The difference in this case being that Rin is a human and a child, while Jaqen is a demon. She's more fragile and thus requires more vigilant protection. And a result of this would be Sesshomaru effectively having to treat her as something precious, or she'd be in even more danger. Not that she doesn't get kidnapped like every 10 episodes despite that. Of course, Rin's involvement doesn't stop there, but we will be taking a short break from her to jump over to Kagura and Sara Asuno. Now, Kagura's role early in the series, in regards to Sesshomaru at least, is someone who sees him as a hero or savior character. With Naraku holding her heart, she turns to Sesshomaru in hopes that he will be able to help her by defeating Naraku. She sees Sesshomaru as the strongest demon around, and as a result he becomes this kind of symbol of salvation to her. If Rin's role was to demonstrate Sesshomaru's ability to actually hold value in a life other than his own, then Kagura's role was to demonstrate that he could feel sympathy. Early on, Sesshomaru was fairly resistant to helping Kagura, mostly because he didn't like being told what to do. That said, he was also planning to kill Naraku as it was, and likely he was just being more difficult, as Kagura originally offered to give him jewel shards to make him more powerful in exchange. This obviously comes with the implication that he wasn't strong enough as it is, and might need some kind of boost to actually kill Naraku. Something which unintentionally attacked his pride, and as such, he turned her down. Now again, we're going to skip a little bit away from Kagura, jump to Sara Asano, and her story begins when her clan was about to be wiped out by a rival clan. However, before the battle, Sesshomaru is attacked by her clan's enemy, and he wipes them out instantly. Sara, much like Kagura, saw Sesshomaru as some kind of hero. There is a bit of difference in how they actually see this, though. Kagura's perception of Sesshomaru was one of hope and future salvation, whereas Sara saw him as a hero who already saved her people. Even if this was short-lived because of her father, she was still indebted to him. When Sara is about to die, she offers her body to demons as a way of being able to fulfill her dream of expressing her feelings for Sesshomaru. And when the final confrontation comes about, we see that Sesshomaru is acting a little bit out of character. He stops Inuyasha from killing her, stops her from attacking Inuyasha, and then confronts her himself, calling out her demonic form. Here Sara calls out to him and begs for him to kill her and the demons that she's combined with. Sesshomaru takes a moment to ask the Tessaiga to lend him its power and immediately wipes her out, then planting Sara's flute in her ashes to pay respect once she's been killed. Sara's arc is obviously filler, which is likely why her purpose in the story is so similar to Kagura's. However, I feel it does a really good job of demonstrating Sesshomaru's growth and his new ability to be sympathetic. The Sesshomaru we saw at the start of the series would probably have ignored her pleas for death and just done his own thing, and he most certainly would not have paid respect after she died. And that leads us back to Kagura, more specifically the moments leading up to her death. Having traveled with Rin for so long, and in the anime having seen Sara's death, Sesshomaru is steadily becoming more aware of the value of life and of the value of those in his life. While he's battling Moriomaru, he smells Kagura's blood and miasma and immediately dashes towards her, breaking Tokijin and seeming to not care in the process. This whole scene of him showing up and just being with her as she died is a huge moment for his character, and is probably the highest point of sympathy that we've seen for him thus far in the series. And honestly, I think the anime makes this even more powerful because of the inclusion of Sara Asuno. This is not the first, but the second time he's had to watch someone who cares about him pass away. In the following episodes, we clearly see Sesshomaru mourning Kagura. And it isn't just a momentary thing. Totosai mentions how Tenseiga has been acting strange for a few days. then explaining that Tenseiga is reacting to the change in Sesshomaru's heart, a heart which has felt rage and sorrow not just for himself, but for another being as well. Of course, this all climaxes in the episode where he follows Rin into the Underworld to save her. Ultimately, Rin is beyond his own saving, and Sesshomaru has a moment where he realizes that attaining power wasn't worth losing Rin. Keep in mind, his original goal was to gain the Tenseiga and power, meaning that now he was completely contrasting the perception that we had of him at his introduction. He snaps at his mother for knowingly putting Rin in danger, and she tells him that he isn't a god and Tenseiga will only work once per person, leading Sesshomaru to have a look of genuine fear because he has lost Rin. Jockin starts crying, saying that he must cry in his lord's place as Sesshomaru would never allow himself to do so, and Sesshomaru's mother asks if this is how he actually feels. Here, Sesshomaru stays silent. We've seen him shut down this kind of talking in the past countless times, these ideas that he might feel for someone else or that he might be sad or hurting, but here he just stays silent. He doesn't turn the idea of hurting down at all. Of course, Rin is revived, and we see a moment of Sesshomaru showing relief and happiness for what might be the first time in the entire series. Sesshomaru was a character introduced as a stoic, noble, and ruthless demon who cared only for himself and becoming powerful through inheriting his father's sword, the Tenseiga. However, through meeting Kagura and Sara Asuno, he learned sympathy and that there were lives beyond his saving. And through meeting Rin, he learned the value of those lives and would ultimately be confronted by the reality of what it meant to let one end, to fail to protect it. In learning these lessons, he shifts away from wanting to inherit his father's will and instead seeks to find a power to protect those he cares about. He no longer has a reason to take Tenseiga, and instead forges his own path, which manifests itself in the Box Saga. And all of this through finding people that he wished to protect. I hope you guys enjoyed this look into the impact of Rin, Kagura, and Sara on Sesshomaru, and the way that he was written. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future, and you can also consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. And on that note, a big thank you goes out to our current patrons, with our Dai Yokai, Bloodwolfmon, Iffy Babes, Ikerochu, and Jacob Wiley, our Yokai, Amelia Hellman, NL Cruz, Janice Not Janice, Joker Rose, and Lucifina Akuma, and our Hanyo, Anthony Hogan, Brittany K, Kiwi Dog, Love the Kiwi, Michael Grayco, Mochi Num Num, Morgan E. Wolf, Nega Kitty, Randy Moseyman, Samantha Olsen, Savage Camel, Simon Electric, Suki Neko, and Ziv. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, remember to stay excellent.